2 p.m. time, and we are being recorded. So if you don't want to be recorded, you can switch off your video and rename yourself. This meeting will be recorded and will eventually be put on YouTube. We would love to see your lovely faces. And with that, I'd like to hand over the control to our presiding officer for today, Abhishek. It's all yours.
Thank you, Distinguished Toastmaster Head Tosh, for such a warm opening. Welcome, everyone. After another 2 weeks of gap, we meet after 2 weeks, and I don't see any guests here today amongst us, but I do see a couple of members joining after a very long time. So, deviating slightly, I'll ask them to share with us what they have been up to in past couple of months. So, Temujin, starting with you.
Okay, hello everyone. Yeah, it's been a long time, so glad to see you all. Yeah. I think the last time I joined the club was June 26th. I'm looking at my notes. Yeah, June 26th. No, since then, I've been on my vacation, and then the school year started, and also a lot of personal things happened in my life. So I moved in a new apartment, and there was a lot of moving going on. So, I needed to settle down. So it took a lot of effort and change in my life. So but I'm glad I'm back with you guys.
Welcome back.
Welcome back, Temujin, and congratulations for the new apartment. So next time we are coming to Mongolia, we have a place to crash. We also always had, but it's a bigger place. So I did see one Sonal Jain joining. I don't see her again. Okay, she left. Was it because of you, Mihir? Okay, I'm in a very... So Lucy and Jack, how have you been? What's been up on your end? We haven't heard from you in a long time. How are things? And why the 7-day vacation for you?
I'm sorry. Did you ask me, Haritosh?
No, Lucy and Jack.
Okay.
Thank you for your question. Actually, me and Jack is not at the same place right now. I am traveling in China, but Jack, he is trapped in Beijing because he is a teacher. He is not allowed to travel. So lucky as me.
Wow. Why is he not allowed to travel?
Because there's some strict regulation for teachers because he has a lot of children to teach. It is very dangerous if he get affected.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
Yeah.
We see a guest, Ken. Hi, Ken.
Hello. Hello.
So could you please introduce us? So could you please introduce us to yourself?
Okay. So my name is Ken. I original from Vietnam. I living in Japan. I joined the meeting to improve my speaking skill, and very nice to meet all of you today. Yes, and thank you for having me.
Thank you. So now coming to Jack is still facing some speaker issues. I do not see his audio connected. Can anybody see his audio connected for me to ask him his question? No. Okay. So moving on over to the club business, I will be sending out the agenda for the next meeting later today. And apart from that, there's not much from the VP Ed's table. I would ask Jan. Okay, I don't see Jan on the desk. Okay. Jan, do you have anything from VP Membership's office to share?
No, I do not. I do not at this time.
Okay, cool. So apart from that, anybody else would like to share anything for the club business from the executive committee? Yeah,
Thank you, Mr. Acting President. As a treasurer, I wanted to share the report that we had a great renewal so far. So I think except 3 or 4 members, we have renewed a good number of people, at least 14 if I'm not wrong. And I've got a couple of a couple of it coming in my account. So we'll be renewing, like for Francine and Anita, I'm expecting them to be renewed today. And I think there are a couple who said they will not be renewing with us due to their personal reasons. So that's completely all right. We also have a new member. Patty is our latest member. She's not here, but we can always cheer for her. So welcome to the family. And anyone interested in joining the Global Club, you can reach out to any of the committee members. That's it from the Treasure Corner. Over to you.
Thank you, Haritosh. And I say this when I'm speaking on behalf of everyone. I think every one of us is a veteran. So considering that we started from 21 and we are looking at 17 to 18 members after our first renewal cycle, and the only losses that we had were due to unavoidable, unmitigable personal reasons, I would say we have done a great job when it comes to club quality and club meetings. So kudos to everyone, especially to the chartering committee that did all the hard work and heavy lifting. Thank you. So with that, I would now like to call upon our word master of the day. Our word is Jan will be our language facilitator. Over to you, Jan.
Okay, good morning, everybody. Happy to see everyone. The word of the day is visionary. And I chose that because the topic is 21st century leadership. And I didn't know of a good word except that maybe we would want to have our leaders be a person who thinks about planning for the future with imagination and wisdom. So I chose the word visionary for the word of the day. And I will also, as grammarian, I'll be listening for filler words. If you say things like, or ah, or so. And I'll also be looking for maybe some great expressions that you use that are unusual or creative. But the word of the day is visionary. Thank you.
Hello, everyone.
Thank you, Jan.
Hello,
yes,
can
Jack,
you hear me?
Yes, Jack.
Okay,
we can hear
nice. Finally.
Jack, you're on mute again. And we lost your video also.
I know I'm on mute. I'm so sorry, everyone. Because today I will see my father's home. So Lucy travel, I come to my family and stay with my other family members. And I'm so happy because recently it is National Day called in China. So we have 7 days break time. So we just enjoy the holiday. Yeah. Happy to see everyone.
Great. Jack, just a small update. I will be your evaluator, so you can just put your evaluation resource in the chat box and I'll download it from there. That being said, I would like to call upon our Toastmaster of the day, Lucy. Over to you, Lucy.
Thank you very much, and welcome you all to this meeting. Maybe it is the morning in your time. For me, China, it is Beijing 9 p.m. But right now, seeing all of your lovely faces, I feel so warm, so energetic. So once again, welcome you all to our meeting. So, and then first of all, I would like to introduce our big role, General Evaluator Mark, on the stage to explain your role.
Thank you, Lucy. Fellow Toastmasters, as General Evaluator, I will remark on anything that's remarkable. Otherwise, you won't hear from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. It is the first time for me to be the Toastmaster, but I think it is maybe 1,000 times for Mark to be the General Evaluator. So I think you can have a lot to share at the end of the meeting. And now I would like to move on to our most important role, that is timer, to control our time. So let's welcome John on the stage to introduce the timing rule. Carlo, are you here? John?
I don't see John in the room.
Yep.
John is not here.
Okay,
John
no
is not
worries.
here. Yep. Yeah, since I am one of the topics evaluator, I can do the timing if required, at least before the table topics.
I can do the timing if you like, Haritosh. Don't mind.
To you.
You're the speaker, Deb, so
That's true.
how
Yeah.
Yeah. So I can do until table topics, and you can do during the table topics. That's unfair.
That sounds good.
Yeah, or I'm happy to step in for table topics as well.
Thank you. So for the prepared speaker, if I'm not wrong, the speeches are 5 to 7 minutes. Speakers, please update, and I'll be changing my virtual background to green at the end of 5 minutes, yellow at the end of 6 minutes, and red at the end of 7 minutes. And you'll have 30 seconds as usual. And this was not expected. Over to you, Toastmaster.
Just to say, Haritosh, mine's 4 to 6 minutes because it's an icebreaker.
All right. Yep, I'll do that. And speaker 2 and 3 are 5 to 7, right? Okay, cool.
Okay, thank you very much, Haritosh and Debs. We have so many ready or so many people candidates for timer, so we don't worry about that. Our speakers, you will be timed. You will have you don't have so much time for a speech. You will always be timed. And then I would like to move on to the joke master, Luis, who will share with us the funny story to make us laugh. Thank you, Luis. I would like to invite you onto the stage.
All right. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters. We lost a great comedian last month by the name of Norm Macdonald, and one of the jokes that he was known for was called the moth joke. So I will give a homage to Norm Macdonald today and retell his moth. For those of you who aren't sure exactly what a moth is, if I put my hand over my camera, that's a moth there. Okay. So a moth goes into a podiatrist's office. The podiatrist asks the moth, "What's the problem, moth?" He says, "Well, really, what isn't the problem? I mean, I'm struggling with, my life's purpose. What am I supposed to be doing here? My work life isn't quite working out. My relationships, I don't feel the love in any of those. My wife, my kids, I don't really know what I'm supposed to be doing here in this life." And so the podiatrist kind of, looks at the moth and kind of said, "Well, I think you need to see a psychiatrist. You stopped by a podiatrist's office. I work on feet. So can I ask you, why you decided to stop by here?" And so the moth says, "Well, your light was on." Okay, and that's the joke. Moths are attracted to lights. So, and I think my light's on. So I'll turn it back over to Toastmaster.
Oh, funny. Thank you, Lou. I like this part the most. I see everyone smiling. You really light up our meeting. Thank you, Luis, again. And now it's time to share some little stories about tonight's topic. And I would like to invite Francine, the warm-up facilitator, onto the stage to host this part.
Thank you very much, Lucy, for the kind introduction. Let's start. Let's warm up our throat, our voice, getting ready to speak for a marvelous meeting. And the first question for this warm-up, today we'll talk about a lot on waking up early, sleeping late. And the first question is, would you rather sleep very late at night and finish a task, or waking up very early and finish the task? And the question goes to Temujin.
Thank you, Francine, for the question. Yeah, I would prefer to wake up early and finish the task because I consider myself as an early riser, and I'm quite active and productive early in the morning. So every time I'm given a task at hand, I would postpone it until the next morning quite early and finish it. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Temujin. Now I want the perspective from a night owl, and I'll ask who looks like a night owl here. Kit, tell us.
So I'm really not an early morning person. My tendency is to wake up. If I have 20 minutes to get out of the house, I will wake up 21 minutes before I need to be out of the house. I'm really not keen on doing things in the morning, but conversely, I can stay up late at night and often have my best ideas late at night.
Okay, thank you, Kit. Now imagine that you are to wake up at 4 or 5 a.m. How would you manage to wake up that early? And I'd like to ask Anita.
Thank you, Faustine. Waking up early is my struggle since maybe 2 years now. That's the fight of my life, to wake up at 5 and get things done. So I'm more unsuccessful than successful in doing that. But one thing I noticed is that it's as simple as sleeping early. The sooner you sleep, the earlier you will wake up. So it's that simple, but very hard to put in motion.
Yeah, thank you, Anita. Now I know that most of us, we read, we hear that an adult need at least 8 hours of sleep a day. Do you believe it's realistic? Do you believe it's a good advice? 8 hours of 8 hours of the day sleeping. And the question goes to Jan.
Thank you, Francine, for that question. I think it's probably ideal to get.
Jan, you've been frozen.
I think we lost Jan.
We lost Jan. Okay. Someone to take over, Paul. Paul, can you tell us, is it advisable to sleep 8 hours a day? What do you think?
Well, in the first place, I can't sleep 8 hours because I wake up in the middle of the night and I've got something to say to myself. I keep a pad near my bed, but that's not enough. So I run downstairs in the middle of the night and start typing. It's absolutely wonderful. And then since I'm done typing, my idea is on the screen and recorded, I can go back to bed to catch up with my next 2 hours of sleep. And it's wonderful. Interrupting sleep is great for me, probably not for everybody, but it certainly works for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. I think you are like many of us, really difficult to sleep 8 hours straight. And I'd like to come back to Jan. Jan, we lost you.
Right,
And
am I
I'd like
back?
to, yeah. Okay,
Okay,
I'd like
thank
to
you.
ask you another question. In the same vein as the previous, if you were to wake up at 5 a.m. or 4, what would be your routine? What would you do waking up so early in the morning?
Unfortunately, I often wake up between 4 and 5 in the morning, and you need to use the restroom. And sometimes I'm able to fall back asleep, but if I know I can't, I will turn on the television and I will watch something, the news or something on TV, and then I'll fall asleep listening to the TV eventually, I hope. And then I start the day groggy. But I wake up always between 4 and 5 in the morning, always. So that's why I don't get a lot of sleep. To be young again and have good kidneys is what I need. Anyway, thank you for that question.
Thank you for the answer, Jan. Mr. Tama, do we have time for one last question or two?
Yes, we have 2 minutes as per agenda, so go ahead.
Okay, I'll ask the last question. And in your opinion, how many hours does Jeff Bezos sleeps a day? Billionaires, how many hours do they have of sleep a day? And the question goes to Mark.
Thank you, Francine, fellow Toastmasters. I have no idea how long Jeff Bezos sleeps, and I'll tell you the truth, I don't care. I'll tell you that I don't sleep much. It's because I'm an old guy. I don't wish it on anyone. Guys, gals, listen, get your sleep while you can. Thank you, Francine.
Thank you very much to everyone for playing the game. You know, I've been reading a lot of Google recently about how many hours we need to sleep a day, when to wake up to be productive, to get the best out of this life. So I wanted to get your perspective and share ideas with you. Thank you very much. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Francine. It is a very interesting topic. And recently I'm having a debate. The debate topic is staying up late a cure or an illness? Yes, it is a debate topic. So it is very debatable. And I know from that debate that there is a gene in our body that is like a short-term sleeping gene. For some people, it is enough for them to sleep 4 hours. But for me, I have to sleep 8 hours. So thank you very much for all those interesting questions. And now we'd like to move on something more useful, that is the educational session. Today we have a wonderful education speaker, which is Kit, and the title is audience feedback, audience feedback. So now let's welcome Kit onto the stage to kick off your educational session.
Thank you, Lucy. One of the things that we face, the challenge of meeting online, is properly interacting with the audience. That it's very much easier when we're standing in front of people to interact with them. There are tools within Zoom and the internet beyond that allow us to get much better audience interaction. So what I wanted to do for this tech tip was just to go through a few of those. Now, unhelpfully, it's not possible to share your screen if you're sharing Zoom over Zoom. So I have a number of slides that I've prepared. What I suggest you do is to watch in speaker view for the points at which I'm sharing those slides, because they will be in this window here. I'm not going to share my screen. Right, so first off, we often ask people as part of a speech for their feedback. We're wanting to get that information coming back to us, but it's very difficult through this slightly disconnected process. So one of the easiest things that we can do is to ask people if they're okay, if they're getting, they're following along. And so what I'd like you to all do is give me a thumbs up if you think that this is a good topic to be talking about, getting that interaction going. Right. Okay, so I'm now looking around to see how many people have given me a virtual thumbs up. So what I was wanting people to do is, if you look at the bottom of your screen, you can see there is a button as shown here on my screen. You click on reactions and you can give responses directly from within Zoom, as Mark has done and as Haritosh had done, so giving a thumbs up. So these are a few very simple, I seem to have upset me here. So these are a very simple way of giving that feedback as you are speaking. And that rather than visually showing your hand, to actually get the little icon in the corner. You can do a whole bunch of those things. So it's not just thumbs up, you can wave, you can cry, but also on the right hand side are 3 little dots in ellipsis, and you can use pretty much any emoticon to come up on the screen as well. I need to just give me a second. I need to turn off my blur background. One of the other benefits of using that kind of feedback is that I am then able to see what people from the participation are doing what. So I can look down that list. If I was to ask a simple yes/no question, so for example, I'm going to ask you, who regularly uses the feedback tools within Zoom? And I'd like you to answer that yes or no using the feedback tools. So you may need to do that from the buttons at the bottom or from the participation at the side. But if you can answer yes with a tick or no with a cross, and I'll be able to see how many people are answering which.
Kit, is that in the reactions button?
So you may have it in your reactions. It depends what device that you're on, or it may be from the participation. At the bottom of the participation window, you can answer yes or no.
Okay, well, just for me, I'm listening. Yes.
Okay, so I'm not seeing any yeses or nos yet.
Raise hand.
Okay, so from the participation
It
window.
doesn't seem to be available on phone.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, there's something slightly weird going on here, like that there isn't the yes/no feedback hasn't been set up with. So this is something that needs to be configured within within Zoom. It looks like that hasn't been enabled for that yes/no feedback. So this is what the yes/no feedback would look like, and what you can see is at the bottom of that display are counts of yes and no. So I can get that yes/no feedback. So I can see how many people have said yes, how many people have said no. But it appears that this isn't enabled with the Zoom session. It is normally defaulted to on. From that feedback, I can then reset those numbers, and I can use those for all sorts of things like polling and so on. Another reason that you might want to use that kind of feedback is if you're, for example, running a contest and you need to know that the judges who have their cameras off and are not speaking are back from a break. And so if they've got the name on the bottom of the screen is just Judge 1, that you can't ask them to say yes or type anything, but a very simple way is to ask the judges to raise their thumb if they are ready and they are back. So again, another way of doing that. What else can we do? What other things can we do for feedback? So this is how you would reset those numbers. Other ways that we can get feedback are through the other apps, other online services. Now, recently, Zoom has introduced some integrated apps, and 2 of those apps that I use are Mentimeter and Kahoot. So both of these allow for very much better integration. And so if everybody on the call has added those apps, you can use those apps for running quizzes, for running much better interaction with the audience. And in fact, no, that didn't work. There are very, very many apps that you can use that can be added and integrated into Zoom. I thought I might run a separate session on Kahoot and Mentimeter. But for those of you who haven't seen Kahoot and want to get an idea of what Kahoot is about, what I want to do is actually run a little quiz using Kahoot. So this is a 5-question quiz. Each question is extremely quick. And so what I'd like you to do is to go to kahoot.it. Now you can do that on your computer. You can do that on your phone. If you do it on your computer, I suggest that you set up a split screen so that you can see on one side the Kahoot image and on the other side of the screen you can see the Zoom, or to connect up to Kahoot with your phone. So I'm now waiting for people to join. You need to go to kahoot.it and put in this number 4509206. Okay, so we've got a couple of people who joined.
Kit, this is too confusing for me.
So if you have your phone to hand, you need to go to the browser on your phone and type in kahoot.it, or just from a browser on your computer, open a browser window and go to kahoot.it. But if you're not managing to do that, I'll move along and I'll have a session later on Kahoot. So what I'm going to do, we're kind of a little short of time. This is a 5-question quiz with 20 seconds for each question. So I'm going to start this off. Real simple questions, all about Toastmasters. And the faster you answer the questions, the more points you get. So this is going to be a real fast, quick fire quiz. When was Toastmasters International founded? Was it the 1920s? If it's press red. The 1930s, press blue. The 1940s, press an orange color. The 1950s, press a green color. And right, 7 people got it right. It was indeed the 1920s. And who was the fastest? Who got the top? That was Mothman. Next, true or false? Toastmasters was founded at the YMCA. Press blue for true and red for false. And it was indeed founded at the YMCA. And let's look at the next question. In roughly how many countries does Toastmasters International exist? Is it 100, press red, 140, press blue, 160, press yellow, 200, press green? And let's see what we've got for this. And the answer is, it's in 140 countries. Last but one question. What is the Toastmasters educational program called? Is it called red walkways, blue pathways, yellow doorways, green? Yeah, everybody got that right. I would hope so. And the final question. How many paths are there to choose from? Red 9, blue 10, yellow 11, green 12. And the answer is, of course, 11. And let's see where that's put us with the winner. So third was Harry. Second was Mystical Mihir. And the winner of the Short Toastmasters quiz was the Mothman. Very well done, the Mothman. And with that, I'll hand back to Lucy.
Thank you, Kit. So thank you for your workshop about audience feedback. If you feel this is useful, it is helpful for you, please send the emoji to Kit to let him know that, yes, we are learning to use it. We can give him a thumb up. We can give him applause, right? Even the fireworkers. All right, yeah, we learned it well and we learned it quick. Thank you very much, Kit again for your workshop. And now let's move on to the most important part of our today's meeting, that is the prepared speech. We have 3 wonderful speakers today. So first of all, I would like to give you the basic information about our first speaker. Our first speaker tonight is Jack. He is doing the Pathway Dynamic Leadership, and he is doing his level 4 project 1, Manage Change. Thank you, Heritage. We are 7 minutes behind, so we're gonna speed up. I'm gonna make it short. So the title for Jack is See You Around. See you around, Jack.
Okay, thank you, Lucy. And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My speech purpose today is to practice a change management plan. So because I'm now a club sponsor of a new club, tonight I'm here to share with you my plan about how to build a club a better place. So, my story with Toastmaster began 2 years ago. One day, Lucy talked to me, Jack, I found an English debate Toastmaster club. Will you come with me? What? Debate? Debate what? Toastmaster, toast what? I say, no, I'm not gonna do that. This is my first reaction in my mind. I hate debate, but I love my wife Lucy, so I came with Lucy and to the debate TMC. We was shocked by the performance, excellence, and atmosphere in the club. So after coming to the club 3 times, we decided to be the member. And then I knew the Toastmasters mission. We provide a supportive and a positive learning experience in which members are empowered and develop communication and leadership skills, resulting self-confidence and personal growth. For the past 2 years, I was empowered by many people. Like Lucy always pushed me to move forward and to challenge myself. And also my mentor always give me feedbacks after I finish my speech. So this year, my plan is to pass the experience that I used the experience to the new clubs and help the clubs to be a warm place. So in my plan, I think the most important thing is the moment of truth. We call it the MOT. It is a way people let the people in the meeting be seen, be respected, be empowered. And for example, all the members and guests have the chance to show themselves on the stage. Each of the members have a professional mentor who can coach him or her to grow up in the pathway. Or after the speech, the speakers will receive the feedback not only from their mentors, but also from some members, even from the guests. And every time in the meeting, people will dress up. The physical meeting, not the only online meeting. People will dress up and show our Toastmasters in details. And all the members will receive a birthday gift from the club. It can be a letter, a song, a short video, even wishes from all the other members. There are many ways to demonstrate the moment of truth. The secret is only one. Let people be seen, build up their self-confidence, and realize their personal growth. I still remember the first day when I come to the debate TMC meeting. I knew it was a great meeting, but I was too scared to do debate with people. So I was just sitting there and listen. And then one of the member, Lena, come to me and told me, I can have a try. And I tried. My performance was not good that day. I felt great when I finished my first try. And at that meeting, when I was about to leave the meeting, Lena noticed me and said to me with a smile, Jack, see you around. I felt so warm at that moment, and I told myself I will definitely back next week. So this year, my plan is to pass this feeling on and help this club to empower all the members in the club and tell every guest when the meeting is ending, see you around. Yeah, this is all my plan to be the sponsor of this new club. My speech is over. Back to you, Toastmaster Lucy.
Thank you, Jack, for telling us a secret. If you if we want you to stay in this club, the secret is very simple. Just tell you, see you around, Jack, for the next meeting, so you will come, right? Okay, thank you, Jack. And now I would like to move on to our second speaker, who is Dr. Allen. Dr. Allen is doing his pathway visionary communication. His project is about researching and presenting. As a distinguished Toastmaster, Dr. Allen is from Greenwood, Indiana, south of Indianapolis in the USA. Also, he is a retired chemical engineer. The title of his speech today is Human Progress. Let's welcome Dr. Allen onto the stage.
Thank you, Lucy. I was marveling about the incredible human progress from ancient times. And to clarify my information, I did a Google search and a Wikipedia search. I was aware of some significant milestones. So I'll go back to the very first milestone of human progress, and it goes back to fossils discovered in Hadar in Ethiopia. They were found on November 24th, 1974. And during the day, the Beatles song, Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, was playing all day for these archaeologists. So they named the fossil Lucy. It wasn't named after our Toastmaster member, Lucy. It was named after the Beatles song, Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. But this was the very first fossil that we've obtained of human hominids. And they had long dangling arms, more similar to chimpanzees, but they had the human-like pelvis, spine, foot, and knee, and the leg bones, and they could tell that the bone structure was made for bipedal movement. That's walking on 2 feet. And in the African savanna with the tall grass, being able to be up high and look out over the grass was probably an advantage. This Lucy fossil was only 3.5 feet tall, but they dated it to 3.18 million years ago. That's M with the M as in Mary. They named it officially an Australopithecus afarensis. The next milestone was actually discovered recently in 2013 in a deep cave in South Africa, the Rising Star Cave in the Dinaladi chamber. And it was a unique mixture of human and archaic traits. They had human-like hands and feet, but long curved fingers similar to apes or chimpanzees. They were hunter-gatherers with small brains. They would eat meat, plants, nuts, tubers. They found 1,500 fossil bones from 15 individuals in this Rising Star Cave. And then if you go back 20,000 years ago, we have cave paintings in the Dordogne, Southwest France, the Lascaux cave. So we've seen evolutionary development, and now we're starting to see technological development. They actually have paintings of horned cows on the walls. So this is technical development in human progress. And this was termed the Paleolithic age. And then we come up to my favorite, Göbekli Tepe in southeast Turkey. It's the oldest example of religious monumental architecture in the world. And this dates to 9,600 to 8,000 BC. That's 11,600 to 10,000 years ago. And these were pre-pottery, Neolithic age. So it was a new Stone Age, the final stage of cultural evolution among the prehistoric people. So this was a hunter-gatherer site. It was abandoned about 8,000 BC when agriculture became more fully established in other areas. They had no domesticated plants or animals there at Göbekli Tepe. And some think this might have been the impetus for the Garden of Eden in the Bible, in the sense that this would have been a wonderful place for a very long time, but then perhaps they depleted the resources in the area and people had to leave from this Garden of Eden. So perhaps that was the case there. And then later we've gotten to the more civilization in Mesopotamia. That means between the rivers. So this was between the rivers of the Tigris and the Euphrates. And that was the world's earliest civilization. That was back in Syria, southeastern Turkey, and Iraq. They had artificial irrigation and agriculture. So this was about the 10th millennium BC. They had grain, vegetables, meat, leather, wool, horn, fish, dates, and clay. This is where they had clay cuneiform tablets. So they started writing. This was the human progress in terms of civilization. And then we have the Babylonians with mathematics and astronomy, the entire Roman Empire and its advances with sculptures. And then we get into the Europe with the Middle Ages. And in 1450, we have the Gutenberg Bible, a significant point in human progress. And now we've expanded to we have an awareness of the entire world, the solar system, the universe, with knowledge of supernovas and black holes. And we still don't know everything. We have the unknown dark energy and dark matter out there. So human progress has made an incredible progression from the Lucy fossils up to now. Madam Toastmaster.
Wow, thank you, Alan. This is a very visionary speech, very informative. And now I know that it is such an honor to have the same name as the fossil Lucy. So next time I will say, hello, I am Toastmaster Lucy, the same name as the fossil Lucy who made human progress. Thank you for sharing that very important message with us, Alan. Now I would like to move on to our third speaker of today's meeting, who is Debs. She is doing Pathway Motivational Strategies, Level 1 Icebreaker, and the title of her speech is The Power of Thought. The Power of Thought, Debs.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and our most welcome guest, Ken. Good day to you all. As most of you know, my name is Debs. However, woe betide anyone who calls me Debbie. This is because, as a child, at my terrible, awful, appalling boarding school, I was called Debbie. In fact, Little Debbie. How annoying is that? Even to hear the name Debbie now sends a shiver down my spine. Ugh, revolting. My life to date has been a rich tapestry of events. least of all last year, when I completely fell to pieces. And to be honest, I was quite a mess. Therefore, I ended up in a psychiatric unit. And today, I want to share with you 3 notions that I learned post-recovery. First of all, I noticed that we had many, many millions of thoughts that come into our heads throughout the day. Lots and lots of thoughts, and these could be confusing, and certainly when I was ill, they were. And with mental illness, and even without having mental illness, we can tend to ruminate on our thoughts. In other words, we narrow our thoughts down. So in our thinking, everything else gets blocked out. And what I learned, that it's really helpful to take a bird's eye perspective, if you like, in our thinking. Look at the bigger picture, and that helps us not to make our thoughts so narrow. Those thoughts were like a merry-go-round for me that went round and round and round, and that I couldn't get off. My second notion was the one of compare and despair. Be honest, how many of you have ever compared yourself to another? My guess is that we've all done this in the past. I did it far too many times, and it only makes us miserable to feel that we're not good enough. Why do we do this? Make a rule for yourself today. I am not going to compare myself with another person from this day forward. And finally, I learnt the notion of self-compassion. And this notion was the biggest element in my recovery. Again, how many of us were taught as children that it's wrong to think about ourselves and our own feelings, and to even say how we feel to other people? Certainly I was wrong for having an opinion, even more wrong to express it. My third notion was I learned that this is not true. I learned that self-compassion, I learned it was okay not to be okay. And I also learned to finally love myself. In closing, our thoughts are powerful. Make them visionary. As J.K. Rowling's words in Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets were so aptly put. It is our choices that show who we truly are, far more than our abilities. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Well, thank you, Debs, for your wonderful speech. I love your ending very much. It is our choice that define us much more than our abilities. Very insightful speech. Now let's welcome our timer, Harry Tosh, to give us a short timer report and vote for the best prepared speeches. Is that
all right?
Harry
Thank
Tosh?
you. Thank you so much, Madam Toastmaster. I'll ask Abhishek to launch the poll. I don't have the rights. And just to keep the record straight, I think all our speakers were qualified for voting. I'll put the time in the chat for everyone, but all of them must qualify. Over to you.
Okay, thank you, Harry Tosh. I will give you 5 more seconds to vote for the best speaker. All right, that is That's it. So dear all, let's come to the most exciting part of today's meeting, that is the table topic session. So without further ado, I would like to invite our table topic master Anita to the stage.
Thank you very much, Lucy. So let me host disabled participants screen sharing. Can I please have the right to share my screen?
You do now.
Great. Go to table topic. Great. Can you all see my screen? Oh. Can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, great. So I tried to align. Okay, I tried to align the table topic with our team today. So please give me 5 minutes. Not 5 minutes. The timer is going to. I'm just trying to see. I'm just trying to set the screen so I can see everyone, but I'm having a hard time. Now, wow, how do I do this? How do I do to have the full view of everyone? Participants. Oh, okay, it's fine. So who hasn't spoken yet? The 21st century leader is a woman. Like it or hate it, and why? So Abhishek. Abhishek, are you there?
21st century leader is a woman, like it or hate it, and why? Not just 21st century. If you pick up the books of history and go through them, you would find women were always the leader. It was just for a very short time when the history books were written in a manner that did show them as the leader they were. You pick up history books, they have always been. Or to make it a very recent example, in my own very home country, we had Mrs. Indira Gandhi as the very first prime minister. At a very small island nation, south of my country, we had a couple of mother-daughter duo who was the world's first president as a woman, Sri Lanka, or it was earlier known as Ceylon. Women have always been a leader. And let me tell you, leader is not just someone who leads a nation, a team, a state, or anything. Women are leaders because they create the future leaders. We have often said, and there is a series on, I think, Netflix or somewhere, where it shows how a father is trying to raise his daughter. And everybody is saying that you cannot raise your daughter. But we never say to a mother raising a son alone that you cannot raise a son alone. You know why? Because it's always the mother who does it. I'm not saying the father, I'm a father myself. I'm not crucifying my gender. But here's the deal. Women know how to do it. They are the first teacher, the first friend, the first guide a kid has. And the knowledge that they sow is what makes the leader. So one who makes the leader is the leader, not just 21st century, but from the beginning of the time. Over to you.
Okay, thank you very much. That's a great story you have there about women leadership. Next.
Sorry, Anita, I just need to apologize. I forgot that I was doing the timing, so my apologies to Abhishek for that.
Okay. Great. So the second question is a quote: leadership is an action, not a position. Donald McCannon, agree or disagree? This question goes out to Ken. Ken, are you there? Leadership is not an action. Oh, leadership is an action, not a position. By Donald McCannon. Agree or disagree? Ken?
Okay, so yeah, thank you so much, Toastmaster Table Topic. Okay, so really, this is really big question. Leadership is an action and not a position. Oh, agree. So I totally agree with this quote because, you know, if the leadership is a position, so that guy is a leader. It means he always to control another. He just stay on only one position and to control another. But the problem is really difficult to have an action like the communication to take the how to commute, how to connect with other member in the team, and how to communicate well with other person, and how to have the good visionary to look at the future and take lead of the group, take lead of the team, and take them on the right way. So I think leadership is an action, and always in an action we had always to improve ourselves, improve the communication skill or team need skill to take an action for all the people and the team and lead them on the right way, and always need to improve. It's not only one position. We can do anything, and that's my ideas. Yeah, back to you, Table Topic Master.
Great, Ken. So yes, it is important to improve our communication skills to better lead. So that makes sense. The second the third question. What are the 3 things a 21st century leader needs? What are the 3 things a 21st century leader needs? The question goes out to Lou Beniel.
All right, thanks, Anita. For 3 things a 21st century leader needs, I think probably the most important thing that might be lacking right now is a bigger worldview than just what your lived experience is. I think that knowing and accepting what others who are not necessarily the same as you have experienced and how to help them, I think is something that's needed. So not just empathy, but the ability to go above and beyond themselves to take into consideration what others value, not just what their own values and or beliefs or opinions are. So I think that's probably the most important thing. I think the second thing that a 21st century leader needs is the ability to let others speak just as much as they do and have a diverse set of opinions before arriving at a conclusion. So I don't think it's quite the authority perhaps that we've seen in the past. And I think the third thing is to know when to step aside. I think that's an important thing that a world leader or any leader needs to have, is knowing that when someone else takes over a position that you had, that let that person do their job without your dissent or criticism, because it's their time now and you had your time. So I think those are all important things for a 21st century leader. Back to you, Madam Topics Master.
Thank you so much. That is well noted. Bigger worldview, knowing and accepting other experience. That is absolutely relevant. How much time do I have left? I see Haritosh nodding his head. So we don't even have a minute for a last one. Okay, great. So that's it on
Yeah,
my.
we are quite late, so we should have been on the evaluation already. So sorry.
Okay, great. No problem. So that's it on my end. Over to you, Madam Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Anita, for this interesting topic and the famous quotes from so many famous people. I learned a lot from this part. And now let's move on to the timer report depths. Would you like to give a timer report?
Certainly. My apologies to Abhishek. I forgot that I was doing the timing. So poor Abhishek went straight to red around about the time that I guessed was two minutes, but that wasn't accurate. Secondly, we had Ken speaking, who came in at 1 minute and 36. Very well done. And we had Lou at 1 minute and 55. Well done to you also. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Debs, for your detailed timer report. So let's vote for the best TT speaker. Three, two, one. Okay, time's up. I hope you all finished the voting. All right, now let's move on to the evaluation part. Evaluation is the very important part where every speaker can be seen and evaluated and be provided with feedback. So first of all, I would like to invite the evaluator for our prepared speakers, Jack, Abhishek. Are you ready? Over to you.
Thank you, Lucy. So change management is such a huge topic that you can have an MBA course on it. And funnily, they do. And Toastmasters International is one of the few organizations that provide you a glimpse of it and how you can manage that change. So kudos to you, Jack, for taking that up because it's an elective, unless you're not doing the dynamic leadership pathway where it is the mandatory project for you. Now, people can take up a lot of things. What you're doing is you're going ahead and opening the club. What you're trying to change is a perception and which is needed as a 21st century leader. You are trying to help people not just become good communicators, but debaters also, because many a times good debaters, good communicators, when it comes to speaking or arguing, they become like, they don't realize that they can be civil while speaking. What I loved about your speech is you were able to connect with us, and all of us, when we attended the very first meeting, had that feeling. Somebody said, I would love to see you back again. And everybody went on and on and on. And today, some of us are here with memberships of 3 to 4 clubs. I'm one with 3. What I would request you is to take some pauses. You have great content. Your content is always good. A couple of things that you can do is you can take pauses. You can speak a bit slow. Right now, in my opinion, you're speaking somewhere around 110, 120. Slow down to 90 to 95 words per minute. That would allow you to help enunciate better, have better pronunciation, and speak more clearly. Secondly, for non-native speakers, we have a challenge when we are writing on MS Word or something. We have a challenge of which English to use. Should we use the UK English and the spellings and the grammar rules, or should we use the US English, the words and the grammar rules? What I would recommend is look on that, and secondly, use Grammarly as a tool to help you make lesser grammar errors, because this confusion happens with us and non-native speakers end up making this mistake. All in all, great speech and all the best for your overall project. Over to you, Lucy.
Thank you, Abhishek, for your wonderful evaluation. I also learned a lot from your evaluation too. So I would like to invite our second evaluator, Mihaya, to evaluate Alan's speech. Over to you, Mihaya.
Thank you so much, Lucy. And it's Mihir, actually, Mihir. The E in my name is, I don't know why there is an odd E in my name is Mihir. So a lot of people, even Indian people, those who speak Hindi, they also make this mistake. So yeah, I would like to, yeah. So this speech was not given by Dr. Alan Schmidt, DTM. It was given by the time traveler, Dr. Alan, because he took us through a journey of 100,000 years and he squeezed the entire timeline in just 5 to 7 minutes. And this is actually really challenging. When I'm telling a small story which happened recently, I'm not able to express it in 5 minutes. But Alan gave an entire speech about the history of the human race in 5 minutes. So I want to congratulate Toastmaster Alan for taking this challenge and presenting it in such a great way. This speech was about researching and presenting. The speech was really well organized, and one thing we look for in a speech about research is the mention of the citation of sources, dates, and data. And everything was there in Toastmaster Alan's speech. It was really well organized. And when the speech is about a timeline, it should be really well organized so that we don't move from future to past and then past to future suddenly. There are some recommendations that I would like to give. There were many difficult words or some complex word in this speech. As I would like the speaker to just type those words in the chat while speaking so that we are able to visually look at those words and understand the meaning, or at least search it on Google afterwards. Second, the speaker, since the speech had a lot of dates and figures, the speaker was looking down, which is no problem. But when you look at the data or the dates, then after that you can look towards the camera again. You don't need to read the entire paragraph. So the speaker can just make small notes and then say the things in his own words. A wonderful uses of pauses, and I really loved the speech. I read something similar in the book Sapiens and I really enjoyed it. And thank you, Toastmaster Alan, for, as it is said that we should learn from history. And if we don't learn from history, we tend to repeat the mistakes. So history makes us visionary. Thank you, Toastmaster Alan.
Thank you, Mihir, for correcting me your name. I will definitely not make it wrong next time. And what's great about Alan is that he is talking about human history in 7 minutes. But what is great about you is that you are evaluating a speech about human history in 3 minutes. So well done, Mihir. Yeah, that's all. And now I would like to move on to the third speaker, who is Kit. He will evaluate Deb's speech. Over to you, Kit.
Thank you, Lucy. So this was, I think, if I'm counting correctly, Deb's fourth icebreaker, which sounds kind of like she's making gin and tonics for me in the evening. And as it was her fourth icebreaker, I'm going to be a bit harsh. I'm going to get in trouble for this later, but anyway. Deb's opened with a point about her name. Something I give as feedback for most people is think about the content of your speech and whether it supports your thesis. So if the thesis is about the power of thought, although it was quite entertaining little snippet, I don't think it supported the thesis. It did give Debs an opportunity to do a little bit of play acting and some extended vocal variety, great opportunity, but again, I'm not sure it supported the thesis. And while talking about about vocal variety, as Debs moved on to talk about something much more serious, you used a much more serious voice. Your pace slowed down and it was clear you were being serious. That worked extremely well to transition into that more serious part of the speech. Another good point for general writing of speeches is to think about your thesis and break it down into 3 subtopics. The 3 subtopics that Debs used were the three notions, like 3 bullet points, talking about comparing yourself as a second and self-compassion and so on. I did think that was good structure, but I did think that there were opportunities within that to ask the audience real questions, to ask them if they knew of somebody who suffered from mental health or whether they had done so themselves. The close, I like closing quotes, but I thought this speech lent itself to a call to action, to ask people to think about this and to take it on. So in summary, I thought Debs was unbelievably brave to share her experience and to share her learning from that. I thought there was better opportunities for audience improvement and the close. And the final point that I want to make is that Deb's recovery from her mental illness problems has limited her ability to write and to deliver speeches. And she came up with this in a very short period of time. And I have to say to Debs, welcome back to speaking. Thank you.
Thank you, Kit, for your evaluation. When you said that I will be a little bit harsh, I was imagining that you would say, Debs, what's wrong with you? But nothing about that. You mentioned so many shining points about Debs, so gentle, Kit. And I'd like to move on to the table topic evaluators. First of all, Heritage, who will evaluate all the sequence speakers. Yes, Heritage, over to you.
Thank you so much, Madam Toastmaster. Straight away, we had 3 table topic speakers. I'm going to evaluate first and the third one. The first one was Abhishek with the topic 21st century leader is a woman, like it or hate it. Give me a second. Can you go to the other room? All right. And Abhishek repeated the question, which is a great strategy to get some more time to understand. So great job on that. You had some great pauses and voice inflection. So one good thing you could do better is, I believe you could have wrapped it up better towards the conclusion with the whole message that were around, and also use the word of the day, visionary. So it's such a great word to use. Moving on to our third speaker, who was, I forgot who was that. And the question was, what are the 3, who was Lou, sorry. And the question was, what are the 3 things 21st century leader need? So Lou also repeated the question. He had 3 points for the leaders. Great job on that. You had structured your table topic really well. Now, a couple of things for you to work on. One is when you are speaking, especially look at the camera. I found you were looking at multiple places, not at the camera. So that could be something. And also use visionary, the word of the day. I also didn't notice that. So those were the odd table topics. And I'll hand it over to Paul, who will do the even table topics. Over to you, Paul.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It was a pleasure to have the question answered really, really concisely. A leader is what I got out of it. And a leader is a communicator and a doer. That is the concept that you presented very clearly. What I think might be improved upon is it was rather, the word might be bland. I would like you to project a little bit more passion in your speaking about what makes a great leader. A great leader needs a presence and a communication skill and a question set that leads to the answering of questions, that leads to action. So more projection, I think, would be good. More passion would be good about your speech. Thank you so very, very much. I appreciate being able to talk about your work. Back to you.
Thank you, Paul and Heritage, for your evaluation. So now let's move on to the Timely report again. Heritage, are you ready to share with us the time usage?
Sure. Thank you,
time
Madam
usage?
Toastmaster. I do have the reports of the evaluators. Interestingly, a couple of our evaluators were so passionate talking about the evaluation, they exceeded the time limit. And I could not time myself. So I'm going to put that in the chat window just to not repeat monotonously. And I hope Abhishek would be able to put the polls in there. And we'll be able to give them the votes despite being not able. Over to you. Sorry.
One more second to vote. Okay, it's done. All right, right now let's move on to the language facilitator. That is Jen.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. I was very happy that in the whole meeting, I only heard 2 ahs. And unless I missed somebody, I only heard 2 ahs. Alan, when you were speaking, you repeated the word so twice in your speech, but I didn't know if it was like part of the beginning of your beginning of a sentence, and you were going like, so then this happened. I think you might have been able to eliminate the so's, and you also repeated this twice. Kit, when you spoke, you had some double words also. You said or, what other way, what other ways, twice. And that was all that I heard in terms of double words or fillers. There were a lot of interesting words that people used, and I liked the fact that we had Lucy in the sky with diamonds. Debs used the word ruminate, bird's eye perspective, and self-compassion. Jack, I like the fact that you used the Toastmasters phrase, moment of truth, and I liked using the familiar phrase, see you around, Jack. And we need to say that to everyone, so we'll all see you, everyone around, in 2 weeks from today at our next meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Jen, for your report. See you all around. It is the shining point of today's meeting. And now I'd like to move on to the final shining part of today's meeting. That is from general evaluation, Mark.
Thank you, Lucy. Fellow Toastmasters, I want to try to be brief because we are really running late. So if I'm concise, forgive me. Lucy, good job as Toastmaster. Lou, great joke. Evaluators, very well done today. Okay, that's all the good news. Bad news. We were really late. As early as our warm-up session, we were too late. Our warm-up session, by the way, sounded to me like an impromptu session. I think we would be faster and move through it more quickly and get more people involved if we have one topic for everybody. Educational moment. Kit, you blew it. 2 topics, didn't have time for them, sorry, and you demonstrated that you didn't have time for them at the expense of the rest of us. The assumed interest in apps and emoticons was interesting. I'm not sure it was supported by the audience. We need to do better on the educational moments. Agenda in general, we had 3 speakers, a warm-up session, an educational session, and an impromptu session. That's 6 sessions, folks. In a meeting of this length, we don't have time for all that. What's going to give? That will be a question for the club officers. Impromptus. We burned some time setting up slides which did not need to be available at all. Didn't need those slides. The time spent finding them was not appropriate. That is my evaluation. But I will say at the end, I really enjoyed the meeting. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mark, for your insightful evaluation and feedback about the whole meeting. And yeah, last sentence from today's Toastmaster. See you around in next 2 weeks. Now I would like to over to our officer team to give us a result about the best roles and conclude the meeting. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Lucy. So the Distinguished Toastmaster Haritosh has the results and he'll be announcing it. Over to you, Thank you, everyone. That's a great wrap. So we have a couple of minutes. I would like to ask Ken for his feedback for today's meeting.
Okay, thank you for having me today meeting. So I really enjoyed the meeting today and really enjoy the workshop. You have some techniques to the action, the speaker, and also I know about the Kahoot system to warm up the people in the meeting as well, and very nice. And all the speaker have a really good speech today. I really helpful for me as well. Yes, very informative. And yes, thank you.
Thank you, Ken. With this, we'll be meeting next week, the week after next on 16th of October, same time. Ken, you can get in touch with Mihir, our VPPR, or Jan to be included in our email list. We will send out the agenda beforehand so you can join us. And if anybody else has anything to add from presiding officer desk, this is all. A great meeting and meeting is officially closed. Thank you, everyone.